Okay, let's start with Special Topics 2 Test 7 from Chapter 14 and 15 of Hybrid Alternative Fuels text. The auxiliary 12-volt battery does all of the following except. The auxiliary 12-volt battery does all the following except. A, provides temporary power. B, acts as a voltage stabilizer. C, stores electrical energy for later use. Or D, powers the starter motor to crank the engine. Now, we're not talking about a Honda Insight, so we're going to say that D is the answer to that one. Honda Insight's got a regular 12-volt starter, but the other ones don't. And that's, we're talking about the other one. The vent located at the left rear of the vehicle is used to provide what? Now, this is looking at a like a Ford Escape. That's number 2. It provides cool air for a gasoline engine, cools the high voltage battery pack, cools the vehicle system controller, both A and B. Actually, that's going to be just B. And it's actually got an air intake back there. It's got all the escapes on the earlier ones. It's got an evaporator and it runs refrigerant through there and all that. So, number 3, the Ford Escape and Mercury Mariner hybrid gasoline engines use the Atkinson cycle, and that means the engine does what? What's an Atkinson cycle engine?
Delays the closing of the intake valve.
Oh, look at that. He knew something there. Delays the closing of the intake valve. You remember that from the presentation we had the other day. Okay, the Ford and Mercury hybrid transaxles contain what? Well, they got planetary gears and final drive gears, a 45 kilowatt AC generator motor, a 70 kilowatt AC traction motor, or all of the above.
We have all of those.
It's got all of them. Remember, the engine's hooked to the planet pinion on that thing, and MG1 is hooked to the sun gear, and MG2 is hooked to the ring gear. Okay, now the Ford and Mercury hybrids are what kind of hybrid? And this would be your, like your Ford Escape.
Mild hybrid?
Yeah. What do you think? Mild? It's actually a strong hybrid. It's got to be a stud and a monster. What kind of battery is used in high voltage system? One large nickel metal hydride battery, VRLA batteries.
C.
What do you think?
250 D size.
250 D size battery, that's right. The DC to DC converter is located where and is cooled by what? That's number 7. It's under the hood and it's got a liquid cooling system. That's on top of the transaxle. It's a DC to DC converter. It's got some pretty sophisticated electronics in it. And these motors have got what they call a resolver in them. There's actually provides a feedback while there's dialing that AC current around to run them motors. It's pretty interesting how all that works and how complicated it is. But you really don't need to understand every last little bit of how it works. That's part of what Craig teaches, and he's actually got another book you can buy that you can just learn all kinds of stuff about electronics in there. But that, as long as you understand what that thing does and you know how to troubleshoot it with your scan tool and whatnot, you're in good shape. Connections are important. It's got 3 great big wires coming to it, coming off of it going to the motor. Okay, let me see. The Ford Mercury hybrids use all of the following except what? Regenerative braking, electric power assist steering, idle stop capability, or a 12-volt starter. It ain't got no 12-volt starter. Ford and Mercury specify the following precautions to be observed when working on a high voltage system. You wear a lineman's gloves with leather gloves over them. You wear a face shield. You create a buffer zone around the vehicle using cones. Or D, all of the above. You're also supposed to have the technician disconnect tool, which is a plastic hook, so you can pull him off of it if it gets a hold of him, and somebody like Webb standing by. All right. What precautions are needed before servicing the disc brakes on a Ford Mercury hybrid vehicle? And this is important. If you got a hybrid and you're going to do the brakes on those, you got to be aware of the fact that every now and then it might just go ahead and apply some brake pressure just to see what's going on. You got your hand in the way. It's adios muchachos. It's bad news. All right. Number 10 is going to be disconnect 2 fuses. There's 2 fuses. Now, I don't know which ones they are, but you disconnect a couple of fuses and that keeps that from happening. Yeah. Technician A says the Escape Mariner hybrid electric vehicle offers a 220 volt AC electrical outlet for convenience. Technician B says the nickel metal hydride battery for the Escape Mariner is a 330 volt design. Which technician is correct? Really? I don't know. It says B.
That's a very confusing question.
Yeah. A 220 volt AC outlet? Are you serious? I don't think so. Would you hook a welding machine up to the thing or what? How long would that last? There's a 110, but I don't know 220.
It's going to be B.
Yeah, it's going to be boy. B as in boy. Which of the following is true of the internal combustion engine on the Ford Mercury SUV HEV? A, it uses an active engine mount. B, it's an aluminum dual overhead cam 4-cylinder engine. C, it uses an Atkinson cycle. And D, all of these are correct.
All of these.
All of these are correct. Technician A says an electric pump assists in delivering warm engine coolant to the passenger compartment when the passenger heating is needed, but the internal combustion engine is in idle stop mode. Technician B says such auxiliary electrical devices are powered by the 12-volt system. Which technician is correct? C, both of them. Now, on some of your Toyotas, you've actually got them little 12-volt pumps are actually an AC pump instead of. In other words, you might pull a pump off, think I'm going to hook a battery voltage up and see if it'll work, and it won't because it's an AC motor. On some of the Toyotas, but on apparently on the Fords it's not. Okay, let me look. And those plastic water pumps they're talking about are really some of the most common things you'll replace on these vehicles. And you got to replace them things because they go lousy. Most of the time, what's made out of plastic that does some work like that doesn't last as long as it ought to. Planned obsolescence, right? I guess. How many planetary gear sets are incorporated into the Ford Mercury SUV hybrid automatic transmission? That's just one. Technician A says there are 6 modes of transaxle operation in the Escape Mariner hybrid electric vehicle. Technician B says the vehicle's eCVT operates in 2 modes. Which technician is correct? D. Neither one of those guys is right. Remember, when you put it in reverse, you're totally electric too. What's happening in the positive split transaxle drive mode? Now, this is something that you need to remember, Webb. I know you've memorized all these other answers, but this is one you really got to burn in. Number 16. A, power from the ICE is being used, that's the internal combustion engine, is used to recharge a battery. B, power from the ICE is used to propel a vehicle. C, both A and B are correct. D, neither A and B are correct. What do you think?
C.
That's C, both A and B are correct. So the power is from the battery, the ICE is being used to recharge a battery, and the power from the ICE is propelling the vehicle, both of them. So what are the tasks of, remember that's positive split transaxle mode, right? What are the tasks of the generator motor? What does the generator motor do on one of these Ford/Escape hybrids? And the Toyotas are really similar to them. A, control the drive ratio in the transaxle's planetary gear set. B, generates electric current. C, restarts the ICE after shutdown. Or D, all of these are correct. That's all of them. What cools the DC to DC converter on the Escape Mariner hybrid electric vehicle? You got any idea? Engine cooling system, transaxle cooling system, A and B, or neither A and B?
A and B.
The transaxle cooling system. Okay, you got that one wrong? You get buzzed. All right. The batteries used in the General Motors parallel hybrid truck are A, 300 volt nickel metal hydride. B, 144 volt D cell size nickel metal hydride. C, 36 volt nickel metal hydride, or 3 12 volt valve regulated lead acid batteries. That would be which one? That's actually D. There's 3 12 volt valve regulated lead acid batteries. You know what color the cables are on that thing? Light blue. Got light blue cables. It's 36 volt system. Got it? And that's D. 3 12 volt valve regulated lead acid batteries. In a General Motors parallel hybrid truck, where is the electric motor? Which that's actually the big old. It's a great big motor with a big wide belt that starts the engine. You got idle stop, like, sort of like a golf cart. When you let off a golf cart, it quits running. You play a lot of golf, don't you? Or no? Okay. All right. So whenever you give it the gas, it goes dead. They have the truck run like that. All right. So number 20 is basically, that's going to be B, which means it's attached to the crankshaft at the rear of the engine. Got me? All right. That's a parallel hybrid truck, actually. I gave you bad information about that thing on the front.
Now, what is a parallel hybrid?
Yeah. Now, where's that piece of paper I gave you guys? Did you get one? Daniel? Did you get the thing about series versus parallel hybrid? Remember that? Did he mismanage his hand?
About how they were lined up. It was.
Yeah, parallel hybrid. That means, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys go ahead. That means the engine or the motors can pull the car, or both can. Either one or the other or both can, right? You got me?
Say that again.
Either the ICE or the electric can pull it, or both.
Okay.
They can either share it, or either one of them can pull it by itself.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Then they got the other one, basically, a series is like what? What would the series be?
The ice runs the electric.
And the electric runs it. And what's a diesel electric attack submarine operate on? It's got an engine that charges the battery, and the batteries charge the screws on that thing. Yeah. All right. All right. You're supposed to know about those diesel electric attack and locomotives too. You know, locomotives are basically got a big old diesel engine that runs the generator, and the generator runs the motor, and the motor drives the train. You know, that's how that works. Right? So if anybody asks you where's the smoke going, an electric train, you can say all them diesel locomotives are electric. You know, huh? You know, people get confused because they don't know about that. You know, they got engines big as room in them thing. You know. All right. So how is a high voltage battery recharged in a Chevy Volt? By plugging the vehicle into an electrical outlet. Did I skip number 22?
And 21. We haven't finished that.
Oh, I just really jumped all over y'all, didn't I? Well, I know now you're paying attention. Which statements is/are true about the auxiliary power outlets? Those are APOs, by the way. Each outlet is 110 volts. 2 outlets are in the bed of the truck. 2 outlets are in the cab of the truck. Or all of the above. Now we're getting into the GM stuff now, see?
All of the above.
That's D, all of the above. General Motors mild assist hybrid system. You know, if you're using a drill or a saw or something. General Motors mild assist hybrid system uses what kind of motor generator? And that's the one I was talking about earlier when I was all messed up in the head. The belt operated motor generator mounted on the front of the block on the side. Number 23, how is the high voltage battery recharged in a Chevy Volt? Plug it into the wall. What type of batteries are used in a Saturn Vue? As it's gone, but Chevrolet Malibu has a BAS hybrid, and that's going to be number 24. That's B. 36 volt nickel metal hydride. The Saturn Vue and Chevy Malibu hybrid electric vehicles are capable of which of the following? Idle stop, regenerative braking, powering the vehicle from a stop using electric power only, or both A and B are correct.
D.
That's D. Both A and B are correct.
22 and 23?
27 and 26? What? What'd you say?
22 is A. Belt operated motor.
Yeah, 22 is A.
What about 23?
Huh?
23, plugging it into...
Yeah, you're going to plug it into the wall, 23. All right, 26. What are the electric motors? Where are the electric motors in the 2-mode hybrid electric vehicle or hybrid vehicle? 26. Inside the transmission. Have you ever seen them Chevrolet pickups that looks like the one that, kind of like the one that Webb drives? Got 2 big electric motors inside the transmission. You know, like full electric. I mean, they got the engine too, but you know, the electric motor. Let's see. The batteries used in a 2-mode hybrid vehicles are what? What are they? 300 volt nickel metal hydride. 2-mode hybrid vehicle. 300 volt nickel metal hydride. Okay, now we're blowing through this one pretty fast. 2 technicians are discussing the 2-mode hybrid vehicle. Technician A says the 2 modes are idle stop and regenerative braking. Technician B says the trucks are full, strong hybrids capable of operating on battery power alone. Who is correct about that? That's B. Technician B. Technician A says the hybrid Silverado Sierra do not use conventional starters or alternators. Technician B says these units were replaced with a 3-phase AC electric motor to do the job of both. Who's right? C. Right about that. Why do you need a starter or an alternator when you got all that electric power, you know, coming out of that AC thing? Of course, you got to have some, you know, converters and everything. Incidentally, when somebody's talking about inverters on one of these hybrid vehicles, it's, you know, like we've been talking about, everywhere you've got a motor, you got an inverter. You'll have an inverter for each motor, basically how that works. So, okay, now let me see, where are we at here? Where are the VRLA batteries located in the Silverado and Sierra hybrid trucks? They're actually under the rear seat, under the back seat.
And you skipped there.
What? Technician A says Silverado Sierra trucks are classified as full hybrids. Technician B says with the electric motor in these vehicles is capable of propelling the vehicle from low speeds without assistance from the ice. Who's correct about that? D. Neither one of those guys is right. All right. Which of the following is true regarding the auxiliary power outlet system? A. The outlets use ground fault protection circuitry. B. The outlets are protected by 20 amp circuit protection devices. Both A and B or neither A and B? Guess at it. What do you think? C. Both A and B. Which of the following is true regarding the power steering system in Silverado and Sierra hybrid trucks? What can you tell me about that? The power steering pump also provides power brake assist. Have you ever seen one that was set up that way?
No.
Come on. Don't start with me. They've been doing that for 30 years. On these diesels and all, they have a big old hydro boost over here instead of having a booster. And they,
My
yeah.
first automotive mechanic class. Really.
Oh man, I know you done opened the hood on an old diesel Buick, you know. But I mean, they've been doing that when they didn't have room for a brake booster under the hood, or if it was a diesel and there wasn't no vacuum. A lot of the times they'd have a hydro boost unit over there that gets power steering fluid pressure, and it's got an accumulator and operates that way. I mean, that's not uncommon. Even that was common years ago, and all that. So anyway, all right, let's see. The electro-hydraulic power steering pump uses how many volts for its power? 42 volts. The Saturn Vue hybrid uses an electric motor generator instead of what? An alternator and separate starter. It ain't got the number 36. The GM True Mode hybrid vehicle is what kind of vehicle? Yeah, it's actually a full strong hybrid.
So what was the last for the Thursday? Was it both half years or today?
Which one? Who? 33?
It was just eight, wasn't it?
Which one?
33 was that?
33 is A,
Power
yes.
steering pump also provides power for.
Yeah, it does. 33 is A, that's right. And Willie is a full strong hybrid, isn't that right, Willie? That's right. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna have record.
This was Special Topics 2, Test 8. And we're moving pretty fast here. And, did you guys enjoy that thing yesterday when those NATEP people were here?
It wasn't bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be good.
Well, I tell you what, the last time it happened, it was pretty rough. This time, it's a lot better. I had prepared more this time for it too, though. I knew what they were going to be looking for, and so I headed everything off. And if we can just keep these tools in the order they were in, you know, that's be a good idea, wouldn't it? Everybody nod your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Everybody's going to work with me on that, ain't you? Mm-hmm. Fuel cell produces electricity. This is Special Topics 2, Test 8. A fuel cell produces electricity from what and what? Got any idea? Hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen and oxygen. What are the byproducts from a fuel cell? That's emissions. Just water. Ain't that cool? What type of fuel cell is the most likely to be used to power vehicles?
PEM.
Yeah, PEM. That's right. What liquid fuel could be used to directly power a fuel cell? Methanol. Methanol. Yummy. Which is not a function of an ultracapacitor. It can pass DC current. That's not a function, which means they can't pass DC current. Hydrogen is commonly stored at what pressure? Ooh, that's an interesting question, isn't it? 5,000 psi. 5,000. Your phone died? Oh, I should know that you've got a good phone, please. All right. Hydrogen storage tanks are usually constructed from what? What are they usually made out of? I know you guys have built hydrogen storage tanks before. Both B and C, aluminum and carbon fiber. HCCI is a process that eliminates what parts or components in a gasoline engine? What do you think? What about the ignition system? The ignition system on those, right? A plug-in hybrid is different from a conventional hybrid vehicle because of why?
A.
Huh? That's actually C.
Yeah.
It's got a built-in, it's got more batteries, not a built-in battery charger. Although I would like it. You know, the original Escape had a little jump button. If that battery in the back, the big one, went dead, you could charge the 12 volt up really strong and push that button, and it would actually go through some electronics back there to charge that big battery up using the 12 volt. And then you charge the 12 volt up again, do it again, you bring your other one back like that. Nobody else did that except the early Ford Escapes. Pretty cool stuff. Huh? Yeah. Which energy sources are currently being used to help reduce the use of fossil fuels? What do you think? That's both B and C. Hydrogen and wind power. We don't really have enough wind and sun power to take the place of, fossil fuels. What's the most abundant element on Earth?
Oxygen.
Is it?
Nitrogen.
Is it?
Water.
Oxygen.
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen?
Yeah. More hydrogen than anything else because it's in the water.
Yeah.
Hydrogen, H2O. How energy efficient is a typical internal combustion engine? 15 to 20%. That's not very energy efficient, is it? Which term describes the entire fuel cycle from the time fuel is extracted or produced until it's spent in the vehicle?
None of those.
Well to wheel efficiency. You could have figured that out, Matty boy. All right. Which of the following describes why fuel cell technology is not in mass production?
High cost.
All of the above.
All of these reasons are vehicles with fuel cells are not currently mass produced. Now Matt just did what I do sometimes when I miss an ASE test question. I'll be going on at warp speed, answering those questions, and the first right answer I see is the one I'll pick, and then it'll be in all of the above. You get in trouble like that. So you better read all the answers before you jump to it. Let's see. Technician A says fuel cells are categorized according to the type of electrolyte used. Technician B says all fuel cells operate most efficiently at 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Which technician is correct? A. Technician A says PAFC fuel cells can use hydrogen as fuel. Technician B says PEM fuel cells use hydrogen as fuel. Which technician is correct? C. Bothams. The negative electrode in a fuel cell is called what?
Cathode.
It's an anode.
Anode? Anode.
You got that? What type of electrical current does a fuel cell generate? Direct current. A fuel cell, you'd have trouble putting AC current out with a fuel cell. Technician A says electrons in a fuel cell flow from the cathode to the anode. Technician B says electrons in a fuel cell flow from the anode to the cathode. Who's right about that? That would be B. Okay, so which one's negative? Anode or cathode? Anode's negative. And negative to positive is electronic theory, right? Negative to positive electronic theory, right? Okay. Let's see, where are we at here? What term describes the process of passing electrical current through water to break it into oxygen and hydrogen?
Electrolysis.
Electrolysis, yeah. We've actually done that. I built one of those things and put it on my Jeep one time. And what you do is you get some, plates that are not touching each other, and you charge some of them negative, some of them positive, and put them in baking soda water, and then you're going to capture the gas that comes off when it's boiling that water, and that's HHO gas is what it is, basically. And I hooked that thing up just like they said, on the truck and all that. Them things were real popular for a while, and some people claim they got better gas mileage, but what I got on mine was it went from 21 to 17. And so I said, I just experiment anyway. I was on that Jeep. But I tell you something else that was funny. I got this little magnet thing that was real official looking that came off of one of them robots we used to have over there somewhere. And I put it around the fuel line on this one student's truck. And I says, well, actually I did it with more than one student. I says, all right, now this is supposed to improve your gas mileage, and I want to know what it does. And they would come back and report that, yeah, I got better gas mileage than that on there. It didn't do nothing. It was a placebo. But they were driving it more careful. You see, that's what I'm saying. And then I put it on somebody else's truck, and he goes, yeah, it helped my gas mileage. I mean, you could put a box with a blinking light on it and wrap some wire around their fuel line and tie it off and make it look real official with a switch and that light blinking, and say, now this is supposed to help your gas mileage. And if they didn't know anything, about 8 out of 10 people will come back and say, yeah, my gas mileage is better. And it didn't do nothing, But what they do is they know they're doing a gas mileage test. They just drive a little more careful. Yeah, they're getting better mileage, but it's not because of what you put on there. It's because they're more conscious of how they're driving. Some people just want to ball the tires and take off and run like a wild Indian and still get 22 miles to the gallon. That ain't happening, man. All right. I mean, we used to have it all the time. People come to the dealership over, hey, you know, my car's supposed to get 19 miles a gallon. It's only getting 18. I want you to turn a screw somewhere and get me up to 19 miles a gallon. You know? Sometimes you can just air the tires up to what they're supposed to be, and it'll help them, you know. Okay, now, where are we going before we run out of time here? What we got? Where are we at?
Chemical reaction.
Which one?
21.
The chemical reaction in a fuel cell is called electrolysis. Is that a sort of a no-brainer? That's false. Technician A says the hydrogen is the fuel source for a fuel cell. Technician B says hydrogen is an energy carrier for a fuel cell.
C.
Number 22 is going to be what? As a B. 22 is a B. All right. We got last page of front and back. 23. This rubber gloves should be worn whenever working on or near the high voltage circuits or components of a hybrid electric vehicle. Technician B says the rubber glove should be rated at 1,000 volts or higher. Technician A, they don't even have a technician. This says technician says, it should be technician B, I guess. Yeah, look at there. They didn't even say A or B on those, but the first one's going to be A and the second one's B, I guess. Technician says the leather gloves should be worn over the high voltage rubber gloves. And who's right about that?
Oh.
23 is actually C. Yeah. Okay, all of the following will shut off the high voltage to components and circuits except what? A, disconnecting the 12-volt auxiliary battery. B, opening the driver's door. C, turning the ignition off. Or D, removing the main fuse relay or HV plug. That's actually B.
What was 24? You skipped it.
24? Did I skip 24?
You did.
I did, didn't I? 24. A Cat 3 certified digital multimeter should be used. Multimeter should be used when measuring high voltage circuits or components. The Cat 3 rating relates to what? A and B, high voltage and high energy. If you hook a regular meter like these little ones we use in here up to a high voltage thing, it will literally explode. You just blow it all to pieces a lot of the time. All of the following, excuse me, if the engine is not running, Technician A says the high voltage circuits are depowered. Technician B says all high voltage wiring is orange in color. Which technician is correct? B. Okay, just because the engine's not running, it doesn't mean there's no juice anywhere. You need to be real careful about that. Which statement is false about high voltage wiring? A, it's electrically grounded to the frame or the body of the vehicle. Is that true?
That's false.
That's false. I've been telling you that on and on, and it's not grounded to the body of the vehicle. Number 28, what routine service procedure could result in lower fuel economy, which the owner may notice?
Replacing the tire.
What is that?
Oh, wait a minute. Could result in lower fuel.
You're using the wrong viscosity engine oil, replacing tires, replacing the air filter, A or B. If you put the wrong tires on there, or you use the wrong viscosity engine oil, then, you know, Bessie May is going to come back in there and she's going to say, I was getting 98 miles to the gallon, and since you worked on it, I'm only getting 81 miles to the gallon. And I don't know what you did, but I want that fixed. You know what I mean? Because they watch them numbers on the little, particularly on little cars. So you got to put the right tires on it, you got to put the right oil in it, and everything's got to be just so-so. It's real important. Two technicians are discussing jump starting a hybrid electric vehicle. Technician A says the high voltage batteries can be jumped on some high electric voltage, high HEV models. Technician B says the 12-volt auxiliary battery can be jumped using a conventional jump box or jumper cable. Who's right about that? C. Believe it or not, C. What can occur if a hybrid electric vehicle is pushed in the shop? What do you think? High voltage will be generated by the motor generator. If that thing's engaged and you push it and it's whirling that thing, it can juice it up. Number 31, nickel metal hydride batteries can be damaged if exposed to temperatures higher than about what? 150 degrees. You don't want to heat them up like that. Okay. How should nickel metal hydride batteries be disposed of? How would you do that? Could you do that? Could you put them in the regular trash? You call an 800 number shown under the hood of the vehicle for information. That's how you're going to do that. How often should landman's gloves be inspected by a qualified testing lab?
Daily.
Please. You know how much trouble that would be?
Monthly.
Every 6 months. As a matter of fact, I got to get mine tested. Technician A says all components in the high voltage battery box are completely insulated from the rest of the vehicle for safety. Technician B says the high voltage battery box is located under the hood on some vehicles. Good grief.
Technician A.
That's Technician A only. They always put it way back somewhere in the back or behind the back seat or in the trunk or whatever. High voltage cables, what? A, are energized during events when the ignition switch is on. B, are orange. C, both A and B. Or D, neither A nor B.
B.
That's actually C, both A and B. Technician A says when a hybrid electric vehicle must remain in the shop for over a month, the battery should be charged by running the vehicle if possible. Technician B says if the battery unit must be removed, it should be handled with PPE. What's PPE? Anybody know? We don't ever, we're not, personal protective equipment.
Yeah.
Safety glasses, gloves, this kind of thing, okay. Let's see, and tested for voltage and treated with care. Remember I had this Toyota when I told you about? I had this Toyota battery I had laid out for 2 years. And we took it out of the box and we measured it, had like 300 volts in it. And it had been sitting there for 2 years. You know, it was a big old hybrid battery and all that stuff. And so, all right. Okay, Technician A says the high voltage cables can be repaired if damaged while lifting on a vehicle. It's like if you crush them, right? Okay. Technician B says a paint oven does not get hot enough to damage high voltage cables or other hybrid components. Who's correct about that? Actually, neither one of those people is correct. You don't fix those cables. What's true regarding protective gloves worn during HV system service? A, leather gloves are worn over the rubber gloves to protect the rubber from damage. B, rubber gloves should be checked for leaks before each use. C, both A and B. How would you check rubber gloves for leaks?
Fill them up with water.
What's wrong with this boy? What you're going to do is you're going to trap some air in it, and roll it. You know, trap some air in the glove and then roll it up so you pressure them up. And if the air leaks out somewhere, you know, that'd be good. So we're talking voltage here. You're going to wet these things? Please.
Then you let them dry.
I can just see him getting fired up. Correct. You won't play that game.
Let them dry before you use them.
What happened to you? You know, they can say, Matt was a good old boy. That's how they do that.
All right, well, you skip to answer number 36.
Technician A says when a hybrid vehicle must remain in the shop for over a month, the battery should be charged by running the vehicle if possible. I did not skip 36. You just weren't listening.
You read it. You just didn't get the answer.
C. Exactly. Both of them. I think I said both of them, and you were listening for a letter. And what number are we on now?
8.
On 38 is actually going to be C. That's both of them, both A and B. You got to check them before each loose for leaks, and you got to wear leather gloves. You wear leather gloves over them to keep you from nicking them. If you're handling sharp stuff, and you can make a nick in that glove and you not even know it, and all of a sudden you got a path for electricity flow. Technician A says Cat 1 meter leads may be used to test high voltage system components as long as the digital multimeter itself is rated as Cat 3. Please. You know who uses those leads. Technician B says Cat 4 test leads are clamp-on inductive type leads. Who's correct about that? B. B is right about that. And finally, number 40, what happens if somebody leaves their test in their truck? A, they get to retake the test later. B, they fail the test. C, they have to get the answers from somebody else. Or D, all of the above except A. I'm making that up. I'll give a web hard time.